Welcome back to Strong Female Lead.
Strong female lead. That's this.
That's us.
This is us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 3 mics, and Hilary has one right up to her face, which is awesome.
Well.
For a very special
Look who finally
episode.
got a seat at the table. Ooh, that's not.
I mean, not quite, because you're very much seated on the floor. But
Ooh, wow.
Just kidding.
I was going to come back at her with her not wanting a seat at the table for a long time.
Yeah, I preferred the corner. I preferred my muffled audio, but
you can't put Hilary in the corner. There is nothing hiding you from the rest of the world now. Yay!
So she brought us a movie. She brought us a movie. What do we do on Strong Female Lead? Oh, we talk about our lives and movies, women in those movies, and how they make us feel, whether or not they're strong female leads.
I like that. A lot of times I sense boredom in Tessa when we have to describe what we do.
I do. You guys know what we do. That's why you're listening.
But we're hoping new listeners pop in.
But they're smart people. They'll get it. It's in the description.
Yeah. That was a great description.
Thanks. It was off the top of the dome. I improvised that.
I like that. That's what we do. And Hilary chose the movie.
I'd like to say I picked this movie from my childhood, but I did not. I watched it in my mid-20s and still loved it.
2007, so I was like, we were all very
Didn't you watch
adults.
it on a yearly basis or something?
I've seen it 9 times, and I finally just bought it yesterday when I had to watch it, which was a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I didn't even watch it in 2007 when it came out. I watched it like 5 years later, so I was even older.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah. But the movie is Stardust.
Yeah.
And it's magical. And I feel strongly about it, and so does Tessa. Actually, Tricia feels strongly as well, just not the same feeling.
Yes. Yeah. I loved this movie. I loved this book. I loved Neil Gaiman. So I was like already on board. Hilary threw it out there and I was like, yes.
You read the book?
Yeah. Okay. I love Neil Gaiman as a writer. I highly recommend all of his books. American Gods. And the TV show. Watch the Stardust series, American Gods is phenomenal. And the Amazon Prime series, Good Omens, is phenomenal.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give you a rundown of the movie, which is kind of tough because it's an ensemble cast. There's like 9 main characters that could all star in their own movies, but they were put in this movie together. So this movie is about Tristan. He was born in Wall, which is a bordering town next to this fantasy land, and he can't get into it. And he wants to win the heart of Victoria, and he promises to find her a star. So, okay, are you done?
How are you not on board so far?
Yeah.
A star? If some dude was like, hey, I'm going to go find a star for you, I'd be like, yeah, you go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bring it back.
And I hate to say this,
star look like?
She was a real bitch about it.
Victoria was a real bitch about it.
She was a real bitch, you know. She wanted to be with Humphrey, who was not
Cavill.
even hot.
So that,
Tristan was
what?
way
Henry
better
Cavill
looking.
is so hot, even as a disgusting blonde in this movie. Not that blondes are disgusting, he just looked really bad as a blonde.
Humphrey looked like the guy from Princess Bride.
No,
I agree.
He's Superman.
But a bad version
like
of it.
Bad version.
He's Superman. He's so hot.
Who is that? That was
Charles Brandon, if you watch The Tudors. Henry Cavill.
Wait, Humphrey?
Yeah. He was just a disgusting. He looks terrible as a blonde.
Wow, I thought he was very attractive. Okay.
Yeah. It was not. This is no one's best film.
You know what?
Michelle Pfeiffer looked great, but everyone else looked terrible.
You know what? We're taking
Sorry.
No, I agree with Tessa.
I was like, where were the makeup people? Why was no one... You know what? His mom looked great, too. And she had very minimal makeup, or at least it seemed as though she had minimal makeup. She looked great, too.
Well, his mom was from the other side of the wall.
Yeah, so maybe she just didn't age.
I thought Claire Danes looked gorgeous. I liked her long blonde hair.
I did not.
I think that's just how she always looks, too.
Yeah.
Kind of. Anyway, so he promises this ungrateful woman that he's going to go find a star for her, and he sets out on the journey. So he has to cross Wall, which is guarded by this old man who's like 1,000 years old. He's pretty easy to get by, so they should up their security game. But they're really trying to keep people out. But
I was very curious about why more hasn't been done.
Yeah, at least like a second person to help
security
guard.
and just this like...
Well, people probably cross and just don't come back, so it's probably like a town lore about.
But it's just like, it's a magical kingdom. Okay, so don't you have the magic to perhaps like up your game on this wall?
Well, they're not worried about coming over. We're worried about humans getting into their town, not this like magic coming back.
Yeah.
Because he was able to pass. Well, I guess he's a human, Tristan.
Everyone seemed
He's
able
part,
to pass.
though. Because his mom was from the other side.
Yeah, but I think they were just humans.
Yeah. All right, so Claire Danes is a falling star, and he's going to find her so he can bring her back to Victoria to win her hand. And while he's on his way to go find her, there's about 5 sons vying for the crown of Stormhold.
7 sons.
7 sons, whatever. They keep dying. Anyway, there's 7 sons vying.
They keep killing each other.
They
What's
keep
it
killing
called?
each other.
Fraticide or I saw it.
Oh, when you kill your brothers?
Yeah, it's like they were fratricidal, or there was some word I was like,
Yeah.
very weird.
That sounds accurate, because frat's like for brothers.
They were just killing each other off.
Yeah.
It was weird. Okay.
Sibling side? That would make sense.
It was frat
Fraticide.
something, but I don't know.
Yeah. So they're also trying to find her because she has a special rock, and whoever gets the rock will be the king. And then there are these 3 witches, 3 hag ladies, and a star can make them young again. Very hocus pocus. And they're also trying to find her. Is anyone else trying to find her, or is it just them?
Just the 3 groups.
Just the 3 groups. So they're all chasing her, and then at some point they run into Robert De Niro, who plays a pirate.
In a sky vessel.
In a sky vessel.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais pops in at some point.
Ugh, leave. Ricky.
Yeah, so that's the premise. So Claire Danes is a star. She's a person. And when I picked this movie, I thought maybe she'd be an SFL. And then we get into it.
Yeah, she was.
She's not much of an SFL, but we'll go into that.
Yeah.
I mean, she has a lot of power, but
Yeah, I personally love when we stumble upon a movie without an SFL, because I think that's a more interesting examination into, especially since I know that the screenwriter and the original author were both men, but how men view women in their place in story and the greater picture of things. Like, you're kind of created. On first watching, you're like, oh, well, she is kind of an SFL, but then like examining her through our lens,
well, I thought
isn't really.
When I started watching it this most recent time, she falls and she's there and he comes to get her and she's like, fuck off. Mm-hmm. She's like, get away from me. And then she gets dragged along by him, but she's like fighting it the entire time. And then she cuts the cord and rides off on a unicorn by herself. I was like, oh, okay. She's exercising agency. She's doing her own thing. And then that's kind of where it ended, and she needed his help. But yeah, there were so many opportunities for them to make her an SFL, and they didn't. But there's also, I think, 4 women in this movie, so we can look at the other ones.
I do think it's interesting in terms of like a male portrayal, because Claire Danes is supposed to have like this power, right? And they all want this power, and so it's kind of putting her on a pedestal. But then she doesn't really have a lot of power within the world that she's in, so it's just kind of like honoring this like sort of perfect kind of woman that is there for you, like to do something for you, and then to save her, and then the witches like wanting to be young. I mean, I know they all wanted, like, it was like immortality and also power, like their powers forever, to have them, but obviously they were very concerned about like remaining young, and it just seemed like a very male portrayal of women and like what they were doing in the world.
Because it kind of starts out as a rom-com, because you've got like two fish out of water characters who both have a lot of growing up to do in order to fall in love with each other. But then he loses it in the story. We kind of lose sight of Claire Danes' journey from being, because she's a star. She's been up in the sky and watching people fall in love, never thinking she'd have an opportunity to go to Earth or to fall in love herself. She comes down without any skills to survive, and then she meets Tristan, who's just ill-prepared for the world, but thinks he knows everything, especially in that he loves Victoria. And so they're both supposed to be on journeys to grow up and find love with each other, but I only really see Tristan's character change, and that could just be because he's the lead of the story, but I think that's, for me, the biggest reason why Claire Danes isn't an SFL. She never grew up and like took her agency, like made decisions that she wanted to do. She was drug along by the plot more than she
literally had a chain wrapped around her.
She had all the power, but was just taken by the plot.
And she couldn't do her like big final move with a broken heart, or so technically without him. And I'm like, so you should have been complete when you fell from the sky. And being sad shouldn't have prevented you from being able to be a star. But other than that, I thought she was great, and this movie is great, and I highly recommend it. Trisha's face is just like, no. She's wincing in pain.
Yeah.
Let's just get it out of the way. Tell us why you hate watched this movie as you described it and didn't finish it.
Yeah. Hate watch the first hour 15. I'm just not a fantasy lover. In fact, I typically despise it. I don't like wizards. I don't like weird magical shit that doesn't make any sense, that isn't steeped in some sort of realism so that I can like hang on to it. And I don't like, for the first half hour, I had no fucking idea what was going on in terms of like just a lot of just, oh, then there's a star and that star is a human. Okay, I'll accept that. Oh, there's a wall. I'll accept that. Like there was just a lot of these different rules of the universe that like I wasn't able to get there fast enough when they were all presented to me. And I'm just like, oh, so we do that there. Oh, so this is what we do in this place. And it like happened so often and then just careened against each other. I was just confused. And because I didn't know the story. And I fucking hated it. I hated it.
I think that the hard thing about fantasy is that it does require like 100% of your attention, and like you've got to be both processing what's happening and thinking like 2 steps ahead. Well, if this happened, then like in my mind, it'd be 2 steps ahead. Like, oh, well, she's a star. Everyone's looking for a star. Oh, but it's a person. That's so weird. And what's with this like ruby rock that's now a diamond? I'll take the diamond.
And you can just throw that out of the sky and then it careens with a star. And oh, now we're traveling by candle. Like, I don't fucking understand what's going on.
It was unclear that does every human who's on the other side of the wall have magic or not? Because why couldn't the brothers just cast a spell to find Yvain, the star?
Right.
If the dad had magic.
I don't think
they were in Stormhold, right? Or
I don't think the
kingdom.
I don't think the brothers were magic.
Why?
They were on the other side of the wall.
I don't think everyone who lives there is magic.
But it's a magical kingdom.
Because the dad had magic, so you'd think if it was something in here.
Like, I know this was well received and people love it, but it was stuff like that where I was like, oh, so he can do that, but he can't do that. Oh, the dead brothers are sitting there, but like now this person, they're able, like, I was like, what the fuck? Who is making up these rules? And then the wall part is just funny. Like, country named Wall. Here's a wall. That is...
It's very timely right now.
Oh, I know. That part for sure. But then I'm like, there's this old dude, and they always get past him, and why don't they just put some rocks there to, like, to make it a little more difficult
so there's no story.
I know, but, like, it's, like, a lot too many whys for me. Like, it's making it harder. Like, there's all this magic, and then there's these little things they don't do, where I'm just like, I don't get it. And that's why fantasy doesn't work for me. It's because I know that you have to suspend your disbelief in its entirety and go with the flow with all of it. And I don't have that in me.
And the narrator, the like Ian McKellen voice, gives you a lot up top of like the things that you should know. So again, like it just requires your complete presence to, like, in my opinion, to get into any sort of fantasy. Game of Thrones too. It's not for the casual watcher.
I was present. I wasn't doing anything but sitting and watching
you have to be. And from like season
but I still didn't get it. That's the thing. Is like I had to pay attention because I had no fucking idea even paying attention. I was like, oh god.
Well, yeah, because there's so many storylines weaved together.
Yeah.
Did you think it was funny at all?
No, but I did like Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought her acting and Claire Danes' acting was really good in it, like for the type of movie it was. Like I thought that they delivered, and I loved the color schemes, like the sort of like saturated kind of thing in the Magical Kingdom, wherever it wasn't all the time, but wherever Michelle Pfeiffer. And I also like that little glow on Claire Danes every once in a while, which was sort of funny. And the costumes were fun. Yeah.
Well, I loved it. T to B. Yeah. I thought it was great. I think it's just like a fun, I mean, for me it was too long, and that would be my only critique. We could have lost one storyline, got this down to 90 minutes. Like most stories to me.
Yeah.
Should be 90 minutes. But I'm like, I didn't even mind the extra half an hour. Especially the, like, where I think they could have taken some time out would have been the fight scene. the very last fight scene, I was like, okay.
That was very long.
I was like, okay, we know this has a happy ending. Let's pick up the pace.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes, like, because this is when I didn't know what was going on, and it was like, who is Tristan's mom? Then I'm like, the princess who is the slave of a witch? Her and Tristan's dad over one night standed, made up a word, and he was born. Tristan loves Victoria. Little bitch isn't negging him, which is sort of what it seemed. And then I was like, Claire Danes is a star? The witch wants the star. Tristan wants the star. Like, I'm truly just figuring, I was lost. And then the unicorn.
You're not lost. That's exactly what happened.
But, like, I didn't get it for a while. And then I'm like, this fucking unicorn, which I loved. I love that the unicorn popped up in the middle of nowhere and, like, was killing it. But then, like, wasn't able to fully save him.
Yeah. I hated, I mean, everyone hates Victoria, you're supposed to. But
Yeah.
then again, you know, she's probably one of the most realistic portrayals of a woman, I mean,
Yeah.
of her time,
Yeah.
or of that time, whose whole life and livelihood is dependent on her marriage. So I'm like, she's painted to be like, oh, you're so vain and so vapid.
Right.
But I'm like,
But
this is her only currency. This
Yeah.
is her only shot.
100% to have people
Why
buy
the fuck
for
would she
it
choose Tristan?
and pick accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of cracked me up. I, like, spoke about this stuff with my therapist. We were just laughing about how
You
old...
talked about this movie with your therapist? Oh my
No.
God. Trisha, I'm sorry.
I might. I'm going on Monday.
It's not too late.
I might have to. No, we were talking about engagements and just, like, how, you know, like, the feeling people, like, how you feel like you're supposed to be, like, so surprised and, like, you're, like, bawling and so happy. But, like, it's not the way that it like, people are kind of made to feel like that is the reaction. But a lot of times when people get engaged now, they've been talking about it, they've been living together. It's not like in the, God, it feels old-timey, but maybe like the,
What's
even
funny
this,
is that it's actually just 100 years. It's
What?
not, there's no old-timey engagement that's like, oh my God, you surprised me. It's the past 100 years.
Oh, what do you
It's
mean?
since the 1900s that this, like, romantic,
yeah,
one knee, big thing
yeah.
has
Even
existed.
she wasn't pretending to be surprised at
No.
all.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not what I mean.
Yeah,
But it just, like, how it's different now, just in general. Like, who's gonna be, like, just the people when they're like, she said yes, or, like, you're not positive if they're gonna say
if
yes.
You're not
It's
aware
just,
that that's coming.
it's just not a thing that we deal with now typically, because you're usually progressed enough in the relationship and have combined enough things and just made enough decisions together that it's not like, ooh, it might be him, oh, it might be him, she said yes, and all of this bullshit. And, like, that's what it kind of made me think of a little in Stardust, with the idea of, like, having men competing for an engagement. That would be a rarity these days too, because
Well,
a lot of
I
times
mean,
you wouldn't be
you
in.
watch The Bachelor, so
Yeah.
that's literally people competing,
Yeah.
and you're not sure who you want to be with, and you're fighting.
Totally, but that's not how it works outside of The Bachelor.
No,
like,
of
they're
course
doing
not.
that because it's, no one would do
Well,
that except on a reality show, and the
yeah.
contestants, like, I mean, that's why it's so ridiculous to watch.
But there was no such thing as dating in that period. Like, people didn't date.
Right.
So it would
Exactly.
always be the scenario. So that to me made it seem realistic. I
They
didn't
didn't
find
date.
any, like, real flaw in the portrayal of her being, like, the object of desire and these two
Mhm.
men vying for that desire. I was like, I don't find anything to be too crazy or absurd. Because
No.
that's how it would go. Like,
Yeah.
you don't date and you get your father's permission
Yeah.
and he meets his family.
Totally, I agree. I'm just comparing. I don't even feel like I agree. I'm not arguing. I just think it is
But, like,
funny.
putting that in modern times. it
Yes,
would be
that's what I
insane.
mean.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course. That's how you don't date. You kind of, like, if this is a suitable person, and maybe you go hang out with a couple people a few times, and then you pick one. And yeah, The Bachelor is actually a great fucking example of that. And that's why it feels so dated, and that's why it's so funny to watch. Is it's like, that's why the parents on that show are just like, what the fuck is going on, when they're, like, meeting people and multiple people, and they're like, you're with, like, 3 people.
That's gotta be really bizarre to
very
be a parent
serious
on The
with them.
Bachelor.
No. Oh, God.
I wonder how many people have, like, surrogate parents in that show, because my parents would not go on that.
My parents would not.
They're like,
go
we
on
don't
that show.
condone this.
Yeah, my mom would be a flat-out refusal.
Yeah.
But maybe I could get my aunt on just because the show's funny. She could
Right.
probably, like, come on and sort of just act it out.
What if they need, like, surrogate siblings? We could do that. You should sign
I
up
would
for
love
that.
to be the one who gets really like upset and kind of like maybe I throw down, start a fight about how I don't think this is right. Just bring a lot of the attention to myself. And
It's a
then
perfect sibling role on a reality show, though. That's exactly what they want. If the producers of The Bachelor are listening,
I love how often we bring it up.
Trish
It makes
the
me so
Dish.
happy.
Okay, so I think the other female character we meet either right before Victoria is the mom, when she's having her little affair with Tristan's dad, which was so fast, and I was like, okay, cool.
That's
I see
sort
how
of
you get
like
down, princess. Like
when I really had no idea what was going on. I was like, what is this? Like he seemed like he was going across for a reason. The dad was like crossing into the magical world for a reason, but then really it was just to go shopping. And then he meets
what it was.
and then he meets this girl, and she's like,
immediately she's
like,
get in my truck.
let's bang it out. And then
he's probably the only like
sent the baby
relatively
back to
normal
him.
looking person she's seen in a long time. And that like weird bazaar of like
She's changed.
magical creatures.
Yeah, I don't. And then she just like ships the baby off back to him with a note, which I love. And
What does she can do with a baby? She's a bird most of the time.
yeah,
A bird can't take care of a baby.
but didn't she
Bird.
see that?
It's a bird, Trisha.
But I didn't know that until later. And didn't she think that could happen? Like, what the
Is
fuck?
Tristan a bird?
No forethought at all. Like, the decision making was just like insane. But I liked his dad.
Yeah, he's very cute.
I thought he was a sweetheart, and he was all like down for whatever Tristan wanted to do.
He's like, go over the wall.
Yeah.
Go find a star.
I mean,
Yeah.
you crazy kids.
I
You
like
guys do
just
you.
not at all setting any sort of like rules or anything, which I loved. He's just like, go for it. How was it with Humphrey? Did you get beat up? Cool. What happened?
I love that there was a throwaway line that's like, you always sucked at fencing in school. And I was like, whoa.
You always what?
Sucked at fencing? And I was like, God, American education is just shit. We never learned fighting in schools.
We need fencing or self-defense.
Yeah.
I'd love
Sadly, we need self-defense.
that should
Why
actually
isn't there
be
a drill for that?
a class in
Well,
high
they-
school, part of gym
well, they do
class
it
or
now.
something. Do they?
Well, kids have to know what to do if active shooters in the school. It's not really self-defense because I don't think they're training them to take the active shooter down. But
to turn their dust into bulletproof vests. But
yeah.
Okay. I mean, like just a one-to-one self-defense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great in a gym class.
But actually, it would just probably make fights more, actual, like, fights more, raise the violence
You
level.
think so?
Yeah. I mean, kids fight anyway. There was a ton of fights in my high school.
Or even a self-defense class for girls. Like, I don't know. Just, I hate to
I think Tessa's saying that kids are start beating each other up if they learn
just
these.
more effectively.
'Cause they just-
they all know the same, like, punch, jab, duck, like, break the nose. Like,
Go for the crotch.
But it would be safe fighting. It would be just...
it would be performed with accuracy,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, it
so
would
that-
be... Yeah, no one would get hurt.
and it could be scored.
It'd be like Glow. They would basically learn how to, like, wrestle. Oh my god, what if that's a class?
Glow class?
A wrestling...
I did wrestling at school.
No, I mean, like performative
WWE.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it with I was like a student teacher for just like the physically and mentally challenged disabled kids at school.
Oh, you were?
So- and we did a wrestling class with them. They just lift me over their head and body slam me. It was awesome.
I love it. You were a teacher?
No, it was like a 1-to-1 thing. So there's
Oh.
like 15 like seniors and then 15 kids who needed assistance.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. But we did wrestling with them. We had the choice of doing yoga and wrestling. I signed up for wrestling.
Duh. That is the right choice.
Yeah.
You definitely made the right choice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
God, you have all these little world things that you've done, which I'm just like obsessed with. So tell us how you met Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah. It was a very, very brief encounter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I saw her at a dinner that I was staffing at work. And she walks in. I'm like, holy shit, that's Michelle Pfeiffer. I didn't know she was going to be here. And I didn't have a name tag for her. And I was like, this is going to be awkward. I don't have a seat for her. She goes by Michelle Kelly in the real world because she's married to David Kelly. So, brushed off my flop sweat.
Yeah.
Welcomed her. That was it. She's stunning. Which, I mean, she looks like she did in this movie. But when you see them walking around next to other normies like us, it's just
Yeah.
like, I can't even...
Yeah.
You know, I thought maybe I was like a Midwest 8, and then they walk in, I'm like, oh no, I'm like a Midwest 4.
Oh my God. No, it's...
When they come into our world, when they cross the wall, and when they...
It is
like,
you
guys have magical powers called money and Botox that I just
and also just
throw myself into yet.
Nice genetics. I mean, because
that California sun,
her face, like the structure of it. I'm sure maybe she's gotten stuff done all over the day, but she had a pretty good palette. To work with. Like her face is just gorgeous. What if you gave her a name tag that said Catwoman? Would that have been like weird and annoying?
If I try to practice some moves on her.
Oh my God, what if you came in a cat suit? Oh, she'd hate that.
Yeah, she'd probably hate it. She seemed kind of reserved. And it was the same time I met Elaine.
Jesus.
The same event, I believe.
So basically, for celebrity spotting, you need to do event planning for...
At a university.
A big university.
God. Too bad Felicity Huffman wasn't there.
Oh my!
She's having she's actually having a pretty good week. I'm still disappointed with her sentence.
14 days. That's nothing.
Yeah, and like $21,000. She should at least have to pay back the value of that
30.
kid's whatever. It's not the value of the kid's education or whatever school they force their way into. It should at least be that value.
Wait, so did the kid get into school?
Mm-hmm.
And are they in school still, or did they?
I think they graduated, or one had graduated.
Oh, I didn't know
confusing their kids.
Well, because Lori Loughlin, her
daughter was still at USC. I think she's now expelled, but
I thought she left.
Yeah,
but I don't know. She's the one with the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yes, like like a makeup line.
Yeah. But you know what? Who knows? I don't know what the kids are doing now. I know they're mad at their parents, and I'm throwing that in quotes just because I wonder how much they knew.
And I bet William H. Macy is mad at his wife.
I'm just like, how are the husbands not being charged in any of this?
Because I think
Lori Loughlin's husband was.
Some of the husbands are.
Macy. No? He's being charged.
Oh, Macy, no, but Lori Loughlin's,
Massimo,
I think he was charged.
There are some dads that are getting charged. I mean, she literally had her name on everything.
Yeah,
like
I think it depends.
All the emails might have been directly from her. I mean, I'd hate to think that he didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they just don't want to charge both parents because you need at least one person.
Yeah, but that's super. I hate that logic.
Compared to like the sentencing in other states and what other people have gotten for the similar or the same offenses, is like it's still appalling that she would only get 14 days.
Yeah, like if you live in like a shitty neighborhood and you lie about your zip code to get your kid into a better school, you get a way more time. Punishment.
I think somebody in like Connecticut got like 5 years for doing that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think it is super fucked up.
Stealing an education.
And I don't like the whole, I don't want a child without their parents. Okay. No one wants that. But I hate the whole, like, sentencing and what people do. For certain high-level people, they always end up getting these, like, sentences so that they can do it separately. Like with the Enron case, they were doing that with the wife and husbands. And then with Teresa... Giudice, like...
Well, he might get deported.
But, like, the kind of, like, just how they do those stacked sentencing. The deportation, I truly don't know anything about. But I don't like them being treated differently in terms of that type of sentencing. That drives me crazy.
Yeah.
14 days, it's basically club fed kind of thing that she's going to be at.
And Lori Loughlin's fighting it. She didn't take a deal. So she's trying to get out of it. She's trying to get out of it and not do any time. And
I think that's going to make it far worse for her. I think she's being an idiot.
And speaking of the college admissions scandal, our buddy Patrick at Lifetime Uncorked is doing it soon. So it's going to come out on Lifetime TV, and he's going to do an episode about it.
And we're going to try and
be sure to watch it.
Get ourselves onto that podcast.
Hey, Patrick, if you're listening, this is a formal request to record that episode with you.
Formal fucking request. You know what I do have to say, though, about Felicity Huffman? I agree. I think the sentence is short. I mean, granted, it's probably all for looks. Who knows? But I do appreciate her statements that she's been making throughout in just like, I'll take whatever the punishment is. I did this. It's on me, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't a ton of justification. There was more so just like...
Not denying it.
I mean, there was a little justification, but like, that's to be expected. But it wasn't as... There was a lot of owning it. And I was kind of like... good.
Yeah. Did you hear what William H. Macy said, though?
No. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he kind of fucked up her shit. And I was like, she probably could have gotten away with one day if fucking William never said anything. But his statement was something to the effect of, she's always been like a very like high-strung person and was very fearful of becoming a mother. And so, you know, although this action is, the things that she's done are obviously bad and she's taking responsibility, like she shouldn't really be held accountable because she's just trying to be a good parent. Is the thread that I think everyone is pulling from his statement. He said more things.
I've got to read
It's probably
that.
written for him, but that's what everyone's kind of taking away. And I was like, shut up.
Wow,
That's
a
like
lot of
the-
people
that's
are
like the
high-strung.
affluenza argument.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
use for that one kid who.
Fear of being a mother.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's really
Doesn't everyone
Being a
have that?
working mother? And I was like, oh, so some people can have it all, even in Hollywood. Is that what you're saying?
So don't hold her accountable because she was scared about this whole thing to begin with?
Yeah, and she's
Fuck
just been
that.
trying to do the best she can, and she's made a mistake, and she's admitted
Actually-
to that mistake.
I think it just shows how much she loves her kids. Maybe she should get like no time. She should get an award,
Yeah.
a trophy,
Mother of the Year.
Mother of the Year.
Yeah.
My mom hasn't tried to do that for me.
No, my
Jan.
mom sucks. In comparison-
Patsy?
Yeah.
What's your mom's name?
My mom will not be happy, so I will not say.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yeah.
That's all we get.
She'll excommunicate me.
Although I know your mom's initials. I think aren't they MAD?
Uh-huh. So,
Love
and that
that.
should tell you her reaction to
Oh,
this.
is that just Mom A. Davidson?
Yes.
First name
Mom.
again.
Yes, first name mom.
Oh, God. Yeah, that admission scandal. How did we get there? I don't know.
'cause
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer. Oh, my God.
But I don't
Yeah.
think she's in the mission.
What did you
Scandal,
think of
so-
her in Stardust, though? I thought she looked phenomenal. I thought she was given a great performance. I loved her. I mean, I don't love a witch character whose only want in the whole thing is to live forever or to be young or have youth for forever.
I think they had a nice nod to Hocus Pocus, though, with their storyline.
Yeah.
Not that that's, like, a hard storyline to come up with, but the three sisters
Mhm.
sucking the youth out of a young girl.
Mhm.
By eating her heart.
It was a little more gruesome than the Sanderson sisters.
Yeah.
I thought she was I think she was a strong female lead, like in the context of this universe. Top billed, lead, impacting the plot, had agency.
She moved her story along.
She moved her story along, and that impacted the plot in the sense that, you know, she captured the girl, and then the girl's, I don't know. I mean, like, in the confines of the universe, I think that she did those things. But I loved Michelle Pfeiffer in it. I thought she was the best performance.
I don't agree that she's an SFL, but I do love her performance.
Mhm.
I don't, like, right now I'm thinking of, like, if we laid out each person's storyline separate from each other, I don't think that any of Michelle Pfeiffer's actions crossed over. Because even when she captured the young girl, it was more a crime of opportunity. She just happened to be at the wall when the other ones were at the wall.
Oh.
So you don't think she impacted the plot?
No.
It was going to happen anyways.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
were all going to meet at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I think of it as different plot lines, right? So she was making her own decisions within her own plot line.
I think and that would, for me, like, give her the agency card,
Mhm.
but not the plot card.
Mhm.
Because she's constantly being thwarted until the very last. Like, all the plot she puts together are defeated. And she really only interacts with that other witch. She doesn't even meet Tristan in she meets them in that weird
The
hotel.
with the goat. That was my favorite part when they turned that Billy goat into a man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about in terms of her setting up that house and then Claire Danes making her way
Yeah.
over there. Like
Because she's thwarted, I think that it didn't really matter that happened.
Yeah, and Tristan's thwarted throughout too.
Mhm.
Like
I hate Tristan.
in a way, this
A little bit.
whole situation seems like it was inevitable, and none of them really
Which is what
made
the narrator,
anything happen.
Yeah, the narrator tells us that in the beginning too. That, like, all of this is fated. Like, so.
Oh,
so-
because it doesn't feel like the guys impacted the plot that much either. So
yeah.
yeah, I can see that. It really, I don't understand. My brain is blown up from trying to do this. Like, I don't. get it. But I
Because yeah, like this is all like based on the actions of the father, changing how the son's succession for the kingdom will go. Because had he never changed how the next in line of succession changed, none of this would have ever happened.
Like if he wouldn't have fucked the girl in Magical Kingdom?
No, the king, who's like on his deathbed, and then there's 4 sons around his bed, and then usually it's the last surviving son, becomes the next king, and so he changes that, and he takes the red out of the ruby and throws it. That's the catalyst for all of this action. So if he wouldn't have changed anything, he's the only male creating the plot, really. Everything else is fated. Everything else has to happen to get Tristan.
Like the star never would have fallen if she didn't get bonked in the head, and he never would have.
He never would have found her. He would have just been human, because he's on that side of the wall.
So this is where probably not watching the last 45 minutes of this movie is coming into play. Why was Tristan the king then?
Because his mom is it Luna?
Luna.
His mom is Luna. We don't know this at the time, but a little bit earlier on when the kings are fighting and killing each other, they say, well, what about your sister? Oh, we haven't seen her, yada, yada, yada. They haven't seen her in a long time. And then there's a fight scene with all the witches, and the mom shows up, and then they reveal her name is Luna, which is the same name that they mentioned earlier with the king. So, like, she's the sister. And then the last king dies. Or, sorry, the last son dies in that scene. So she's the last heir. And then they're like, oh, so
it has to be her son has to be a male heir.
And that's when Tristan finds out that's his mom, and then that's when it all...
Yeah, he can create the red back in the ruby, and he's like, oh, you want the
okay.
And then the other... Tristan was like, I could live forever as the king and eat your heart. He chooses not to. Oh, what a mensch. Oh, that's so sweet. And then they live for 70 years, and then they take the Babylon.
Then they go in the sky.
They take the Babylon. So you did watch it.
No, I read the rest.
Yeah.
But kind of. Yeah. But I didn't understand it. So, I mean, like, I read a little bit, but I didn't get it. Okay.
I think you do get it. You keep saying you don't get it, but then you'll explain it exactly how it happened. So confused on what you think you're not understanding.
Do you just not get the attraction that we have to the movie? Is that it?
You've
given everything in the exact order that it happened and with details. So I was like, you do get what's happening.
Yeah, like I don't get why. Okay, like, I could string it together after, like, watching it for a half hour. I don't understand why. Any of it. I don't understand the link with any of it.
Wait, the link between the characters? Or why is a story being told?
Like, why is this happening? Yeah, and why is each thing... Why did that happen that way? Why did that happen that way? I can pull them together, but why? That's what I don't get. It's more of an existential why. But okay.
That's more of a like why
love, a search for power and a search for youth. I mean, that's why.
Which is the same as every story.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I don't know. I hate it. I'm sorry. It's sad that it was Hilary's first love pick, but I can't. It just happens.
I'll still watch it again.
Yeah,
you should.
It's totally worth watching.
I'm gonna trick you into watching it. I'm gonna invite you over.
Awesome.
Pour us a glass of wine.
Oh, wow.
Tell you not tell you what movie we're watching. And bam, Stardust.
And force me to sit for 2 hours.
Door. And you'll stay because of the implications.
Oh God, that's very Dennis of you. I like
Reynolds
that.
And everyone.
When does that? Is that end of the month come back on?
I don't know.
I think so.
I'm so excited though.
God, they pulled a fast one on us when they said that series was ending, and we were just like, "No, we're too good."
So
what a great idea of them to do that.
Yeah, just keep doing it until people stop watching it.
Yeah.
How many seasons have there been?
13.
13 seasons?
Mm-hmm. And it's really great because the last few ones, Mac comes out.
Yeah.
And Mac's and no one cares. And
Mac comes out?
Yeah, and no one cares. They're like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, we know. Dude, we know you're gay.
The Ass Blaster 3000.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I loved that part. They just don't care.
Yeah.
I've only seen season 4 or 5. That's where
it probably happens in like 8 maybe.
No, season 4 is like when it gets like super good. I think that's where the Nightman Cometh is. I think season 4. That's like yes, that's like one of the best seasons of the show.
That's an incredible episode.
Yeah.
How does that song go?
Dayman. Oh. Fighter of the night man. Something of the sun.
Yeah. Fighter of karate and happiness for everyone.
Yes, that's
something like that.
Maybe I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Dennis is my favorite.
Dennis is great. I think Charlie is still my favorite because he's got the weirdest storylines.
Oh God! All right. Well, what else? What do you think about
the ladies?
I think so. I mean, I think early on we decided that Claire Danes wasn't an SFL, even though she was the main character, and I think that the writers could have made her an SFL. You know, she could have gotten Tristan out of trouble sometimes, but she was very damsel in distress.
Yeah,
very damsel.
The first 10 minutes, maybe not so much, but the rest of the movie, she really relied on him.
Yeah.
And
what do you think
when
about
he
Michelle
left
Pfeiffer?
her, she was just like a zombie. Was she going to like kill herself, kind of? And just,
she didn't know she
didn't
cross
know.
the
But
wall.
what was she doing? Just like
I think she was just gonna go in and tell him off.
yeah.
And I was like, I'm down with this plan. Go.
Yeah.
What do you think about Michelle Pfeiffer as an SFL?
I thought she was an SFL. She also stole the show.
Yeah.
Like, she was more interesting to watch than Claire Danes, I thought.
Yeah, I thought she was too.
Because she had like a comedic twist to her character. Robert De Niro was definitely my favorite, though.
Yeah. It was an interesting role for him. I like him.
I don't know how I feel about that role.
I was a little
I
surprised.
didn't love it.
And then also it was...
I loved it my first viewings, but I'm like, this viewing, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
It felt a little birdcagey, like in terms of, I mean, I haven't seen that in a long time, but in terms of just a portrayal of, was he gay or did he just like to wear women's clothes or was it not?
Unclear.
So it was unclear.
I think he was gay, and I think everyone knew it, and they were pretending not to know just to keep him happy.
And this is 2006. I mean, it makes sense.
No.
And for the time, I think in terms of a fantasy, like I think that might have been as far as they would go.
As in the setting of the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were in 2006. I was like, no.
No, like a movie made and then this type of movie. Like I think it doesn't shock me that they did that, but I thought the portrayal, I thought it was pretty dated. Another time capsule sort of thing is just like, ooh, I'll catch him and he's wearing a little dress and he's like, it's unclear and we're laughing sort of at him and not totally with him. And we like him, of course, but it just, I don't know. It was weird.
I hate to rain on this particular parade.
I've already rained on the entire parade, so go ahead.
I mean, it is like, it's fun to watch, but I don't like when someone's like, especially since it's unclear, at least for me, whether or not he was gay, but to have your sexuality played for laughs, I don't love it. Mm-hmm. Since it didn't seem like we were all in on the joke, we were laughing at him, not with him. Mm-hmm. So that made me feel weird. And there's also no people of color in this movie, so you're losing points for that too.
Yeah.
Because it was 2004 when they shot this, and like you couldn't find like even background actors who are people of color. Disappointing.
Yeah,
it is England, but in that century. But also,
I did like that he was super tough and scary, and then ended up just wanting to like be friends with them and talk to them. I liked that. I think it could have been done without him, wanting to dress like a woman and maybe being gay. And yeah, I did feel like we were laughing at him. Or the audience was supposed to. But I think it just is, that's kind of how some movies were then, even with, especially if the sexuality was unclear. That's just kind of sometimes how the portrayal was at that time.
I think it was left unclear so that we could laugh at him. And so I'm like, for me, it felt like the writers were doubling down on the fact that his sexuality should be played for laughs. And I'm like, if we can change things, then we should change things if this is ever being remade.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a remake. Oh, shit.
To look at. Yeah, with better graphics.
Would you do any casting changes for a remake, Hilary? Or is it perfect as is?
Off the top of my head, I can't recast a movie right now. We can try.
I would remake this movie as a musical. I think I would like it more if there was music. And then I would want Zendaya to play the Claire Danes role.
Ooh, I like
Just
that.
to get a person of color.
Yeah.
Did you watch Euphoria?
I've never seen it.
I feel a little bit like a pervert watching it, but I do like the movie or the TV show.
I started watching it. I only saw the first episode. It's rough. I liked it. It's about drugs.
Yeah, I gathered that from the trailer, and I was like, too heavy. No,
It's about drugs.
My philosophy on coming home from a bad day. I can't watch other people have bad days.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad days in it.
A lot of bad days. All right. Well, shit.
What would you rate this movie?
I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 5. I definitely think it's very watchable. Unlike if you like fantasy, it's extremely watchable. You just have to know what you're getting into. And I love Neil Gaiman. I think he's a brilliant writer, and to me, it's very watchable. Problematic SFLs. There's no people of color. Still worth watching.
Yeah, on like an entertainment level, I was entertained the entire time.
Yeah.
But everything Tessa just said, they went out of their way not to try to make any of those things happen. So I'd give it a 4 on entertainment alone.
Nice. Okay. For fantasy, I would probably give it a 3 out of 5 in terms of 3 out of 5 human stars as fantasy goes. I like the colors. I like all that stuff. And personal rating, watchability, viewing for me it's my first 0.
I love that.
It's my first 0.
I love that.
Do you?
Yeah, a 0. That's It's a strong opinion. I appreciate the strong.
Yeah.
And it's just, I can't. I've always had an issue with fantasy. Zach has told me he wants me to sit and watch all 3 Lord of the Rings in one sitting.
Pass.
Well, you're not going to like it if you do it in one sitting. So if he's
because they're so boring.
He's setting you up for failure to do it all.
They're so long.
Well, I think
each one is a Titanic length movie. Ugh.
I think it's because we're bartering because he hates karaoke and I want him to go.
That is not a fair trade.
Interesting deal.
It's 10 hours of Lord of the Rings versus one night karaoke.
Well, he's done karaoke before, but yeah. Oh, totally. And I even agreed. I said, okay, then we can watch it earlier in the day and then we go out at karaoke at night. And he has to think about it. And I was like, I am shocked that you're not accepting this deal.
Is part of the deal that he has to do karaoke?
Oh, he has to go up and sing?
Or he just has to go?
No, he just has to go for a full night. In like a private room. He's just,
Oh, so it's not even like in front of a bar? It's like in a private room with just your friends?
Yeah.
Zach.
I know. He's being
difficult. It's the easiest one.
I know. Well, he wouldn't even agree to that challenge. I'm like, I basically gave it to you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
At least do something more fun than Lord of the Rings. Ugh.
I loved all of those movies.
10 hours?
But I wouldn't,
3 hours
I wouldn't
each
watch
movie.
them all
I'm assuming you have to get up and get snacks.
So you have to get up, go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Take a lap around the block,
Yeah, and all he has to do is go to karaoke and just
it's like 3-4 hours of partying.
Like
with
4
your
hours.
friends.
I know. I think it was just be difficult. I think he's digging his heels in. Seems like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I refuse. I watched those movies when they came out and I refuse to ever watch them again. Ever.
I've seen them all a couple times because I really do like them. I don't read Tolkien by any means because I don't have time for that, but...
Yeah, why don't you do The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe? It's much shorter. Still fantasy. Or, oh my god, The Golden Compass. Hilarious. We should do that on the podcast. Nicole Kidman, they're riding polar bears. It's fantastic. It's on Netflix. Please watch it. Just as a side note, as a recommendation, watch The Golden Compass and then sing to me the song.
Oh.
Record yourself singing.
I like that.
Tag me in it, and I would love you forever.
We'll play it on the podcast.
Yeah. The Lyra song. Sing it.
Should we tell the listeners where to find us?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We are on Instagram at Strong Female Pod.
Mm-hmm. And we're on Twitter at SFL_Chicago. Tweet at us.
And we want you guys to, tell us what you want to listen to.
Or tell us yours. You're listening to us.
I've lost control of my brain. Tell us what you want to hear.
Yes.
And have us review. Yeah. Tell us what you want us to hear.
And in the month of October, we're going to do strong female villains.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll pick out the first 3, and then we can take a listener suggestion for the last one.
Yeah.
If it's good.
Make it good.
It's got to be good.
Pick your best villain. I like it. I think that's it.
Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Leave us a little message about how much you love us and what movie you want us to do, and then also include an accent you want us to read your review in. So if you want...
Oh, they can request the accent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They can. They can, because we do have a review that we're going to do from Pam Howell.
Yeah.
And stay tuned if you want to hear it. We still have to figure out the accent.
Yeah, and if you liked last week's attempt at the old-timey transatlantic accent, then get ready.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right.
Cool. I think that's it.
That's it.
Thanks, Hilary.
Thanks, Hilary. Until next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we've got a review for Pam. Let us know if you can guess the accent. Love them for all the times when you watched a TV show or movie alone and wanted to discuss it with a friend. Bonus, you can tell when someone is born by their pop culture knowledge, and the difference between the two crack me up.